Okay, here we are looking at a Replas solar panel. These are fully set up to basically turn on and off, give you a kilowatt hour reading, and they pretty much run on their own system. Now, they do put power out, but they also work on the power coming in during the night. We have on this side here an AC solar array isolator, which basically controls the power coming out of the inverter, which comes down through this cable through here. Through this one, we call this a DC isolator, which comes from the array panels up top. We'll have a look at those later. You'll see the isolator. And what it does is we have two wires coming through here, or four. We have two from the top array and two from the bottom array panels, and they isolate this for the supply coming off the roof. Also up on the roof we have an isolator which sits right next door to the panel. So we've got 2 points of isolation, and we have the third. We need to isolate the input and output when we're talking about this switchboard, the inverter, for safety reasons. Also, when we look at coming onto a house that does have solar, we need to do certain things. So this needs to be isolated. The AC supply needs to be isolated. If we're working up on the roof, we isolate the cables coming, the power coming out. These cables which come down through here, okay, are stainless steel. There's 4 of them. They run up through a conduit, which we have a look over here, which has solar DC on it. So we're going to have a look at that a bit later. That runs all the way back to the isolator. So when you climb up in the roof, you'll see a conduit. It'll have solar DC written on it every couple of feet. So you can see up here, and it keeps going, so it identifies what is the solar. So coming over here to the switchboard, we'll cut a little bit in later, but we have a main switch, which is the orange one for the inverter. That's the supply it came out. We have our main switch for the main switchboard, which comes from the pit down the bottom here, which if you want to point down to, Ella, points down to there. So that was down the bottom there. Okay, then we also have this labelling. We have safety warning, dual supply, so we need to look at that. It's also marked down here what we have on the roof. We have 370 by 2 volts and 8 by 2 panels. We also have the warning. This warning contains 2 supplies coming in. And then we also have, so all this labelling, when it's actually put in with the solar, is actually added in so that people are aware that the property does have solar on it. Okay? So, a little bit further, we're going to walk down into the pit. So, when we look at the pit, what we can see is there's been a supply. This is the supply pit. This has a 3-phase supply. So one will go off to the house next door. The other one will go to my house, and the third one will be used for the street lighting, which is right behind us. If you turn around, Ella, just over here, you can see the street light. So that's picked up off one phase. All right. So having looked down here, it says here, warning dual supply must be fed. So this is to warn the linesman, so he comes to open the pit to make sure that he's aware that there's a back feed. Because what happens is, we can turn the power off, but the supply panel will put a feed back down here. So we've got basically 2 supplies. Look up here, we've got 2 supplies. We've got one coming in from the street and one from the solar panel. We need to isolate so that no one gets hurt as it feeds back out into the street. Okay, we're going to go around the back in a minute and have a look at that. So can you push stop, Ella?